Hello folks, and welcome into the Truck King YouTube channel. Off-road and adventure-focused trim packages are massively popular right now, and from Hyundai, they have their XRT package, and they have now applied it here to the Santa Cruz compact pickup, which means we need to put it to the test. So in this video, I'm going to show you all over this truck, all the features inside out and underneath, and then we're going to hit the trail, find the dirt, and see how it performs. Make sure you stay tuned. Let's start with a walk around. First of all, the powertrain, that is a 2.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's making 281 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, sent through an 8-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. And for whatever it's worth, this hood is extremely heavy. I feel a lot of hoods on a lot of new vehicles, and this is the heaviest one I have felt in a while. So for 2025, this Santa Cruz XRT gets some changes. It has a whole new front fascia. It gets a new lower bumper design to help with the approach angle. It gets these big exposed tow hooks, and they're actually, they're nice. I like how far out they come. They're nice and beefy, so good to have those. Now looking down the sides, you're getting a cool set of 18-inch wheels, and even Hyundai says they're inspired by wrenches. You can see the wrenches on there. I happen to really like the design of those wheels. And then a set of Continental all-terrain tires, which look pretty aggressive, more aggressive than what you were getting on any other Santa Cruz in the lineup. And this color is pretty grabbing as well. So why don't you just drop in the comments right now and let me know, what do you think of the updated styling here on the Santa Cruz?
Hey folks, great news. You've seen us pitching giddy-ups before. Well, we ran out last fall. Now we have a whole new supply. These ones right here. Hey, these are the synthetic type. They only come in black in this design. However, these are bargain price, 25 bucks a piece, or we'll sell you a set of 4 for 80. Listen, for anybody that needs a little help getting into their tall trucks or SUVs, giddy-ups can't be beat. So look for the link down below, click it, go right to our website. It's as easy as that. Get these in your truck today.
Let's look at the business end of the Santa Cruz now, and there's actually a lot going on back here. It's just a little bed. This is 4 feet long, but what it lacks in size, it makes up for in features. So first of all, you are getting the corner step down there. That's nice. I always like those bumper steps because they're just ready to go. Anytime you need it, it's there. Now the tailgate itself is damped, which is nice. And then you are getting this integrated tonneau cover, and they put this handy strap here. It clips onto one of your hooks, so you can always grab it and pull that closed. It is nice to have. And then if you want to open it, simply go like that. The one downside of it, it does chew up some space at the front of your bed, so you're losing a few inches up in there. Then when it comes to features actually up in this bed, and it really is easy to climb into, you are getting hard tie down upper and lower in these back corners. You're also getting a little bit of storage right here, which is nice. And on this side, also a little bit of storage, but in here, you're getting a plug. So that's actually 150 watts of power there, which is handy to have at the back end of your Santa Cruz. LED lighting here in the bed. And then you're also getting these movable tie downs, movable cleats. So depending on what you're tying down, you can make sure those are in the right position for it. So like I said, there are lots of features, and there's one last feature I have to show you, but I got to get out to do so. And that is the integrated trunk. Oh, let's move that out of the way. Whoopsies. Let's move that out of the way. Integrated trunk. So obviously the Honda Ridgeline kind of pioneered this idea, but I love it. I mean, you put a bag in here, you put some groceries in here, it's going to stay out of the elements, nice and protected, away from prying eyes. Close it, and you still get the full use of your bed. So that is a super cool feature. Now finally, towing and payload. So here on our XRT model, you can tow 5,000 pounds, but you are going to notice There is no hitch down here. The hitch is not standard on any Santa Cruz. So if you're getting one of these, you have to order the accessory hitch. They'll install it for you at the dealership, but it's something to keep in mind that that is not coming straight from the factory. And then let's check the payload. Right here, it's 1,411 pounds, which is a pretty serious amount of payload for such a small truck. Let's take a closer look at the back seat. First of all, you can see it's got this 60-40 split to it. And on this one, just the seat bottoms come up. But when you do bring them up, it does reveal this big storage bin. You get the jack over here, and then just some general storage space on this side. Now, when it comes to baby seats, you are getting lower latch here on the driver's side and the passenger side, and 3 top tethers up along the back wall. Finally, I'll climb in. So this is listed at 36.5 inches of second row legroom, and this is my driving position, and I do come pretty far back. So in that case, it's actually not bad, because this seat could be cheated forward just a little bit. I have just enough legroom, but again, this person could move forward a bit and give me enough. Not quite as roomy as that Ford Maverick, but still not too bad. Headroom is actually quite good. I feel like for most vehicles, I'm a little bit closer, so that's good news. When it comes to amenities, I do get 2 HVAC vents down here in the center, 2 lower USB-C ports right there. I get a molded cup holder over here in the door, which is nice. And then finally, I do have my traditional pickup truck window back here. It is manual, but still kind of handy that I can open that up and get the draft going through. So yeah, as back seats go for a compact pickup truck, this one's pretty good. Let's take a look underneath this Santa Cruz XRT now. So I always start with the tow hooks. Now I can just barely reach them because they're way up there, but I love that. It's nice to have a tow hook in a high position, just in case you are buried in the mud or sitting at a funny angle. It just makes it more accessible. So that's definitely a win by Hyundai. Now looking at this, I also like how sealed up it is right here from front fascia to this first skid plate. And this skid plate is plastic. And it's a pretty big plastic skid plate too, and I'm gonna be honest, it does feel a little bit flimsy even compared to some of the other plastic skid plates that we do feel. I'm sure it's some type of composite plastic, but yeah, big plastic skid plate nonetheless. We get back to this guy, and that is steel, and this is just sort of one of your main cross member pieces or part of the front subframe right there. And right behind it, this little guy is aluminum. So yeah, there's very much a mixed materials approach here, plastic to steel, back here to aluminum. And then as we get further back, you can see there is some of this sort of fibrous material they've put on here. This is generally done for sound deadening and for aerodynamics to help with fuel economy. Not great for off-roading though. It gets really gross in the mud, and as you can see, it's not that strong, so not that hard to put a hole into either. As we move back, there's the fuel tank. It doesn't get any skid plates, it's totally exposed. And then behind that rear suspension, you do get a spare tire. So that is a nice touch to have the spare back there. So yeah, sort of from the front quarter of the vehicle back, it's not sealed up too well, but the front does look pretty good, and that is the most important part up there when you're talking about off-roading. Now it's time to go off-road, folks, but we're not going too crazy today because of the numbers here on this Santa Cruz. So the XRT only gets 8.6 inches of ground clearance. It gets a 19.9 degree approach angle. That is better than any other Santa Cruz in the lineup, so slightly better approach, but still just under 20 degrees is not a great number. A 23.2 degree departure, that's actually pretty good, and an 18.6 degree breakover angle. So yeah, the off-road numbers here are still not huge. The biggest upgrades next to the standard Santa Cruz when it comes to straight up off-roading are going to be that approach angle and the tires, and we're going to put those to the test now here on our offset mounds. So I'm also going to keep it in normal mode for now. So we're going in here with no drive modes turned on, and let's just see how the Santa Cruz deals with losing traction. We'll also see if the clearance is enough. I think it should be for these mounds, but yeah, these are still new. We replaced our old ruts with these mounds, so we're still sort of learning about them. And right about here, we're gonna lose traction. So far, it's creeping through. Oh, there it is. Okay, my foot's going into it now. Not too bad, Hyundai. It definitely struggled for a second, but it pretty quickly realized which tires were spinning, and it managed to get the power where it needed to go. It's trying, it's trying. So you know what, to be fair to this Hyundai, I'm gonna stop right now and I'm gonna put it in terrain mode. We're gonna go over into mud mode and let's see if that makes a difference. That should send power to all four wheels right away. So let's try this now in mud mode right here. And you know what? The way the power was distributed, it didn't really feel like the brain was faster or much smarter, but what I definitely felt was it was letting those tires really get up to speed, and it just felt like I had a bit more power. So them off-road modes, yeah, it didn't really change how the all-wheel drive acted, but it did change how the power was put to the ground, and in that case, I needed a bit of that slip to turn through, and it got me up and over. So yeah, not the fastest thinking system in the world, but it did do the job, and it got the power where it needed to go. And now the off-road fun continues. So we've left our property now because honestly our trails are all a little bit too gnarly for this thing. We've come over here to our local unmaintained town road, and it's got some water on it today because it's finally been raining here. So we've gotten some splashies and it's pretty rutted out. So we're hitting some pretty big potholes, and that has exposed a few things about this Santa Cruz. I think the biggest one is that, you know, outside of the fascia and the tires, there's no other real upgrades here over stock. The suspension is the same as what you're gonna find on your standard Santa Cruz, and it's okay at slow speeds, but even here on this rough road, I'm gonna hit this, I hit that at around 30 kilometers an hour, and oh yeah, and you can quickly find the limit of this thing. So it's not a high-speed off-roader whatsoever. Even on a road like this, I would recommend driving a bit slower. And that is a little bit disappointing because it'd be nice. You get the XRT, you get the adventure model. You'd want to feel like the suspension is a little bit upgraded compared to other Santa Cruzes, and it's just not. Now I'll speak on the powertrain because I haven't really mentioned that yet. And there is lots of power here. It is powerful. I like that about it. At slow speeds though, the dual clutch can feel a little strange, especially like when you're climbing a hill at slow speeds. You put your foot into it and you can sort of hear the engine react and rev up. Oh, we're bouncing around. Yeah, so you hear the rev spike and then you feel the kind of drive engage, or you feel that clutch engage, and then you start to move forward. So it's not a very natural feel. And when you're driving along at speed, you don't really notice it. But yes, in those slow speed moments where the transmission is sort of between gears or thinking about what it wants to do, it can present itself. And yeah, unnatural is just the best way I can put it. It does its job. It just feels weird when it's doing it. Now I do get paddle shifters here, which, you know, are much more for on-road driving, but I do appreciate it off-road because I can grab that left paddle, stick it down into first gear, and make sure it's gonna stay there. So that is kind of nice. I also like this screen up in front of me. It's the drive power distribution screen. So it's showing me exactly where the power is going. And as I turn my wheel, the little tires turn on the screen too. So I like that. It's always kind of nice to see, you know, what is the all-wheel drive system actually doing underneath you. When it comes to kind of off-road technology, I showed you the drive modes, the drive power distribution screen, but I also do have a big suite of cameras, and there is a physical camera button down here. So we'll get back to this 3D view first. Your front camera, you got a wide view, you got a split view looking forward at those front tires, your skinnier front view, and then your kind of top-down front view with the predictive guidelines. The rear gets the same views. So down the sides, out the back, looking down at the back. And then this has got to be the coolest one, this 3D view. And I'll kind of roll forward here so you can see it in action. It's weird, it does distort kind of the sides around it, but it still does give you a sense for where you are on the trail. And easily the coolest part is you can click and drag and move that view around. So I can get my top-down view if I want it. I can look just at my front three. I can look directly back at the vehicle, and I can do it while I'm in motion. So yeah, I've seen lots of camera systems that allow you to look all the way around the vehicle, but not one like this where I'm able to drag it with my finger and really see the exact angle I want to. It is pretty amazing. Again, kind of distorted, like you can see this line right here where they're separated, and it does make some of the little brush next to the trail look a lot bigger than it really is, but I can still see how this would be handy off-road, and quite frankly, like a lot of these things, this would be massively handy in a parking lot or anytime you were kind of parking really close next to something. You can get a great view, and after I hit a certain speed, it does go away, so that's only going to stay up at slow speed. And now everybody, we're back on road, and that little short stint on that, really rough dirt gravel road, it told me everything I need to know about this Santa Cruz XRT, which is that the Santa Cruz is decent on a road like that. If that's the kind of place you have to get into, the Santa Cruz is going to serve you well. Stepping up to the XRT is not a significant upgrade. I appreciate the tires, but of course anyone can put a set of tires on a vehicle. And then the approach angle, yeah, sure it helped, but negligibly. It's just not a big difference. So that was one of my big takeaways there, was just, yeah, the Santa Cruz is okay. XRT package, it's got a couple little upgrades, but in this case, I do feel like a lot of it has to do with the styling, which, isn't a bad thing. It does look cool. I like the blocky styling on those wheels and sort of the color combos and the grille up there. So I think that does matter. But here, if you're looking for those real practical upgrades, you're just not going to find a ton of them. So that is one of the reasons why I came out here to the Santa Cruz's natural habitat, a nice paved road. And out here, it drives really well. I have no complaints. It's comfortable. It's quiet enough inside. It actually handles pretty well if I do a little bit of this action. Yeah, there's a bit of body roll there, but it's not bad. And that's one thing I've been noticing with my week with this Santa Cruz is I like the way it goes around corners. It has a tight turning radius to it. So it drives nice. And one of the reasons you'd go for a Santa Cruz is because that's what you want. You want a totally easy to drive experience. And that's what this thing delivers. Now, is that sort of akin to a pickup truck? No, this is the least pickup truck feeling pickup truck that you can buy. And yes, that includes the Ridgeline. I would say this thing, it just doesn't have any of those sort of truck characteristics that you look for from behind the wheel. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. On the positive side, everything I just said, this thing is easy to drive. It's simple to understand. It does what you want it to do. As a Monday to Friday commuter, it works great. And then on the downside, I don't think a lot of traditional pickup truck owners are going to be drawn into the Santa Cruz. And I think Ford kind of recognized that when they brought out the Maverick. The Maverick feels more like a truck just in the way that it rides down the road. And that is to say, it rides a little stiffer. It doesn't ride quite as good, but that is sort of what we associate with pickup trucks. Plus, the Maverick has more of that traditional pickup truck styling where the Santa Cruz doesn't follow those rules. So yeah, I don't want to sound too negative on the Santa Cruz because I do like it as a product, but as a channel that constantly reviews pickup trucks, I totally understand how when you get in this thing, yeah, it just feels nothing like a truck. So good vehicle, just don't expect to get in here and be like, oh man, Hyundai really built a great pickup truck, because that's not what it feels like. Now, some other observations from behind the wheel. First of all, the interior, they've gone with this massive panoramic screen. It does look really sharp. They've kept some physical buttons, and I do like that they have the physical dials for the HVAC. They've also gone to this whole panel of capacitive buttons down here though. I don't really love those. I feel like they're distracting and not that easy to use, but hey, at least we do have a mix here. And then when it comes to some of the practicality, I like the little shelf in front of the passenger over there, sort of above the glove box. Anywhere you have to sort of stash your stuff is always nice. I got a bit of space down here in my center console too. And then for technology, I do have wireless charging. I also have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and I appreciate that here in this Hyundai too. And now here's a chance to put my foot to the floor on road, just in normal mode. Oh yeah, and it gets up and goes, man. Plenty of power on road. And that's where I complained about the dual clutch at slow speeds, sort of not under heavy loads when it kind of hesitates. When you put your foot to the floor, the dual clutch feels great, and the shifts are smooth and seamless and quick, and that is actually noticeable. So there is a positive to the dual clutch as well, and that is, yeah, when you're really going for it out here on the road. Now, is it massively different than sort of a traditional automatic? No, I wouldn't say so. And the dual clutch is generally associated with a sports car when, you know, those milliseconds and shift time really matter. Here it kind of doesn't matter, but still it is noticeable. And if you do want that smooth shifting feel out of your transmission, the dual clutch is going to deliver that. So bringing it all the way back around again to that Ford Maverick, I think that the Santa Cruz here is just a different product than the Maverick. Now we have to compare them. They're the only two kind of natural competitors in this compact truck space. And I just think the Maverick is going to be for your traditional truck buyer who wants a small truck, whereas the Santa Cruz is going to attract a buyer coming from a crossover or a car who's maybe never owned a truck before. And for that person, this is actually quite a good product because that 4-foot bed back there is massively useful. I know, you know, truck buyers will complain about it being small, but it can do tons of jobs. And if you're coming from, you know, a crossover or a car and you've never had that bed before, yeah, you're going to absolutely appreciate that utility. So I think the Santa Cruz will always be a niche player. It definitely appeals to a smaller segment of the market than something like the Maverick does. But I also think, yeah, Hyundai has a decent product here, and I'm glad they've stuck with it. They could have already gotten rid of it, but no, they're sticking it out, and more choice in the pickup truck market is always a good thing. So I hope Hyundai keeps on offering it, because this is going to appeal to, yeah, just straight up a different buyer than any other truck on the market, I would say. Well, folks, we've arrived at the end of this one. Now, I have to drop the price on you still. So for this Santa Cruz XRT, as it sits in the video, you're talking about over $49,000 Canadian. Now, what did we really prove in this video? Well, first of all, I think the Santa Cruz here is a competent rough roader. I wouldn't call it an off-roader. I wouldn't even call it a good rough roader. I would call it competent. Now, where I think the real strengths of this product lie in the bed. All of those features back there, like the trunk and the tonneau cover, just make it really useful. And then you combine that with a high payload rating and then a really sort of buttoned down, comfortable on-road driving experience. And yeah, the Santa Cruz here is definitely a useful vehicle for the right customer. But you know what, folks, that's the end of this one. Now I need to hear from you. Why don't you drop in the comments, let me know about everything you've seen in this video and what you think about the Hyundai Santa Cruz. And then as always, make sure you come back here to the channel and see what we're testing next. See ya.